league rights continue to go north, and that's getting passed through to operators, and that presents a challenge because they've got to maintain profitability and efficiency. So we're seeing them start to embrace other sports and alternative sports, not only because their consumers demand it, but because they need it from a profitability perspective.
All right, we got Joe Dunnigan here from Alt Sports Data. Joe, always good to see you, my friend. It's been a bit since we caught up. How was your summer?
Summer's been amazing. Thanks. How about you?
It was fantastic. Feels like a long time ago already. We're into October now, but the Vegas heat here is a good reminder that it was once summer. The audience probably last saw you and heard of you on the podcast 6 months ago when we caught up in New Jersey.
Yeah.
That was in May. So give us a quick update on what's been going on at Alt Sports Data since then.
Cool, thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me. I think that we were on the heels of closing a round of funding.
That's right.
We were in the mode of let's now put our heads down and execute. And so we've been very fortunate to be able to do that since we last met. And the results have been showing in the form of kind of, escalation on all fronts, if you will. We've landed now 4 Tier 1 operators, and we're live with 4 Tier 1 operators, including Bet365, FanDuel, DraftKings, as well on the DFS side with Underdog Fantasy. We're driving meaningful traction and handle and margin. So it's been very exciting to see the vision that we'd always had kind of come to life in those Tier 1 settings, as well as our league portfolio continues to grow. We're now at 20-some strong, and the quality and quantity continues to evolve. There are those leagues that have been totally unrepresented in sports betting, and then there are those leagues who are much more household names who are underrepresented in sports betting who are now coming to us. So that's super exciting. On the demand gen side, which is very, sort of near and dear to our hearts, we are partnering with all of our leagues and sending our 75, 80 million plus aggregated audience to sports books to become new sports bettors. So that the flywheel is really starting to turn. And then the last piece of the puzzle that we don't maybe talk enough about is our consumer-facing media property, nextbets.com, is really starting to spin up organically because it feels as greenfield as the other opportunity that we tapped into with the odds and pricing is from a media perspective, we've become the singular source of truth for betting on all these other sports. It's sort of the all other category. So very excited to see it kind of ramping on all fronts. Yeah.
Well, congrats on all the progress and those names you mentioned that you're integrated with now. Those names don't get more Tier 1 than those ones. So, kudos to you and the team, Joe.
Thank you.
One thing I want to pick your brain on for a minute here is the data ecosystem. And look, we're at G2E. There's always lots of conversations. One sort of recurring theme I've observed over the last couple of days here is a lot of conversations just around sort of the current state of, official rights and data and all of that. And you mentioned Alt Sports Data is expanding the coverage of the leagues you work with. So just give us your lens as a provider in the data space on kind of what you're seeing in terms of trends and just the overall trajectory of that space.
Yeah, I think what's been most exciting to us is to see the vision that we came out with, 2.5 years ago now come to life in that we had been telling and selling the story about, hey, there's a value in new, differentiated, relevant content and being able to bring that in a very cost-effective manner. And so that's when we went out and aggregated a number of these sort of disparate leagues and said, how can we help operators by helping them cost-effectively stand up this new relevant product? And at the same time, we're seeing a real, I guess I wouldn't say a struggle, but league rights continue to go north, and that's getting passed through to operators, and that presents a challenge because they've got to maintain profitability and efficiency. So we're seeing them start to embrace other sports and alternative sports, not only because their consumers demand it, but because they need it from a profitability perspective.
So. There's only so much margin left to squeeze out of.
It's finite at the end of the day.
Awesome, Joe. Look, given all the progress you and the team have made over the last few months, I'm sure you're on a trajectory to do even more in the coming months. So give us a bit of a tease out as to what we can expect to see from you and the team over the next 6 months.
I think what's most exciting is that we are no longer having to prove what we will do. We're actually doing it, and it's really doing more of it and deepening those relationships with our Tier 1 operators, expanding our footprint not only domestically but internationally. In fact, recently we just signed up ESPN Bet, we signed up Hard Rock. We have a vision for really sort of capturing a solid footprint in the U.S., but also with the entree into the rest of the world via Bet365.
Yep.
We have a very large vision to expand internationally. And to do so, we continue to raise capital. So we've got very strong capital partners in Relay Ventures and eBird Capital. So we're very fortunate in that regard. And we are in the process of raising a subsequent round of funding, as you can imagine, to continue to grow the team, advance our technology, and really build out the media aspect of our business to continue to, bet stimulation and drive the flywheel.
Awesome, Joe. Well, I look forward to our next catch up in another 6 months' time and hearing about all the great things that you're going to accomplish between now and then. But for now, appreciate you swinging by, and it's always good to chat with you, my friend.
Great to chat with you as well. Thanks for having me. Appreciate
all right,
it,
Joe.
Jesse.
You bet.